Right then, hello there guys, welcome to another Unreal Engine 4 tutorial. This one has been long anticipated, so this is going to be an update to my chase and roam tutorial which I put out a while ago now, probably a few years ago, in which I covered getting a zombie to sort of chase you, and if it's not seeing you, to run around and do something else. So I'm going to show you what this is going to look like. So you see that zombie there, he's roaming and I need to hide from him, because if he spots me, he's going to come at me. So at the minute he's just picking a random place to go to, and he sees me, and now he's coming at me. He's running, he wants to get to me, and he's gone back to roaming. He lost sight, so it's a little bit glitchy at the minute, but I'll be updating this with a couple more as I expand on it. But yeah, he's basically chasing me there, and if I can get out of his vision, he'll go back to roaming to a random location. So how do we do this? Well, you're going to need quite a lot of things to get AI up and running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be referencing, no I'm not, I'm going to basically make a new folder and create this again. So I'm going to call this tut for tutorial, and I'm going to remove him from the world, and I'm going to show you how you make this shit from the scratch. So in here we're going to need a few things. The first thing I'm going to want to make is a character, and I'm going to name this zombie tut. So let's go inside our zombie here, and inside our mesh I'm using the Mixamo animation pack. You can get that for free on the Unreal Engine site over here. So inside my library I have this, and this is already added to my project. So I can drop down from this box and choose an appropriate mesh. I don't know, let's go for the goblin. Goblins are pretty cool. Just give that a moment to load in. And we're going to want to face him so that he's facing the same way as the arrow component. So rotate 90 degrees. Let's drop him down and put our perspective from the side here so we can line his feet up nicely with the bottom of this. So his feet sit flat on the floor there now. Okay, so that's our zombie placed like that. Let me go back to the perspective view, and he's going to need to use a class which is going to be Goblin. And you see now he looks a little bit more relaxed. Awesome. So while we're inside our zombie, I'm going to need to set something up that's going to be pretty cool. So we're going to need a custom event, and I'm going to name this one walk, and another custom event, and I'm going to name this one run. And these are going to require a reference to the character movement, and from there we're going to set max walk speed, duplicate that. So by default this is set to 600, so we'll change that to 600 for the running. And for the walking, let's bring it down to about 150. I find 150 is where the walking animation really takes over from the running, and it's not blended together. So we're going to just set that up in there, and that's our zombie done. So let's just double check what we needed again. We're going to need obviously our we're going to need a behavior tree, so we're going to call this tut tree, and we're going to need a blackboard. Oops. Tut board. Cool. Okay, let's just save those. So we're also going to need another blueprint of type AI controller, and we're going to name this tut controller. Okay, so inside our tutorial controller we've got a bit of work to do inside here, so let's run in here and let's add a component named AI perception. So this AI perception component is how your character or your zombie is going to view the world. So he needs a sense. So over here on the array we need to add a sense of type sight. So we're not going to work on sound just yet, let's just get the guy seeing you first. So his peripheral vision is 90 degrees, which is a bit absurd. So only if you're, so let's lower that down basically. So this is like his field of view. Whoops. This is his field of view. So if you find that he's catching onto you too easy, maybe lower this, maybe change his maximum sight radius down. I don't know. Let's put that 2000. Whoops. So yeah, you know, this is where you're going to tweak with how well the AI can see you inside his sensing component over here. So back in the event graph, we're going to need a couple of things. We're going to need another custom. We're going to need another two custom events, walk and run. Okay, clicked on a thing. That didn't work. Let's make it again. Custom event walk and custom event run. So you might be thinking, but we've just made these. That is correct, but we'll get onto that. We need to passing something. We need to passing the call back through a couple of classes. So I'll come around to that. We're going to need a variable in here, and it's going to be of type zombie tut, and it's going to be it needs to be an object reference. So we're going to name this zombie. Okay, so we can grab that, get that, and we can actually come off here and see that we can call the walk function and the run function that are both inside our zombie class. So we're inside our zombie controller at the minute. This is our zombie where the walking speed changes. This is the controller that will control him. And in fact, I just reminded myself of an important step. Back in the zombie itself, you need to just select the zombie over here and change the AI controller to tut controller, or whatever you've named your controller. So back in the controller, we've got a couple more things to do. We need an event on possess, and we're going to cast that out to our zombie, or zombie tut rather. And we're also going to set this in the meantime, just so that when it comes to calling walk and run, they actually reference something. And we're also going to do a run behavior tree, and this is where we will select our tutorial tree. Okay, so one other thing to do inside the tutorial controller is select the AI perception, right click, and on add event dispatches you can see that it's got the target perception updated there. So this is whenever something new comes in or out of the field of view. So we're going to cast that to our first person character. Excuse me, I need to sneeze. Oh wow, Jesus. Okay, sorry about that. So our stimulus, we're going to break that and expand it out, and you can see that we have successfully sensed. So what we're basically doing with this is we're checking whether we've successfully sensed the first person character. So if they are there, this will be set to true. If they are not there, this will be set to false. So I'm going to pause this a little bit here for the meantime. And whoops, I lost everything there. Come on back out here to my blackboard. Now on my blackboard, I'm going to need to add a few keys. So you can think of a blackboard as, well, a blackboard or a piece of paper that you're writing down various numbers on, various references to things, various variables. So we're going to need a vector, and this vector is going to represent our player. Whoops. If I could type today, player location. We're going to need a second vector of random location, because let's not forget that this can roam when it's not chasing the player. And we're going to need another one, a boolean of can see player. Okay, so back in our tutorial, in our controller, our AI controller, we want to get the blackboard, and from that we want to set value as bool. And this boolean value is going to be this successfully sensed over here. We need to specify which key it is. So these are keys. We need to specify which one we're updating, and it's the can see player. So we're going to drag off the key name and make a literal name of can see player. Fantastic. Okay, so this is us pretty much done inside the controller now. So let's go to where the actual AI logic really takes over, and that's going to be in our behavior tree. So in a behavior tree, you start with a root, and a root can connect to a composite. So you have a selector, which will what's the best way to describe this guy? He'll do one unless the other one fails. I think I'm still a little bit rough on the edges on how best to describe these guys, But we're going to come off this and add a sequence on this side and a sequence on this side. Okay, so from our sequence on the left side, we now need to start making some tasks. So we're going to hit up here, new task, and we're going to select the blueprint base, and we're going to, first of all, we want to come and rename that because it doesn't let you choose a name for it when you start up, which is ridiculous. So we're going to do that as get Rome location, and I'm going to put tut on the end of that so I know which one on my tutorial one. So we can open that, and inside get Rome location you want to start this out with an event receive execute. So just type in execute, there it is, and we're going to cast to zombie tut. Wait a minute, I've missed a step, excuse me. No, I haven't. Tut controller, that's what it's called, not zombie. So let me find that again. So we're back inside the get Rome location task now. So we're going to cast to tut controller, and from that we're going to call the walk function. So that's going to slow us down. We also want to set blackboard value as vector, and we're going to need to make a variable up here named, we're going to name this the random location key, and that's going to be of type blackboard key selector. Make sure you hit this, by the way, to make this public, and I'll explain why we do that in a little bit. So we're going to get that, plug that into here, and from here we need to get actor location. So this is going to get where the AI itself is in the world, and we're going to get a random point in navigable radius. So this is going to choose something within a 5,000 unit radius of us, and we're going to set that as the location on the blackboard. Now when you're making a task, you must always remember to finish up with a finish execute, and that should be set to true. What we could do to do this properly is, if it successfully sets that point, then we'll set the execute to true. Okay, so that's all we need for our get Rome location. So back in the tree, the first thing we want to be doing is dragging off this, and under tasks you'll see we now actually have get Rome location tutorial. So I'm going to hook that in. We also have a default task of move to, and you can select the key on here to be the Rome location and not the player location. So remember, we have our blackboard keys up here: player location, random location, and can see player. Well, we want the Rome location. I think it's called. Oh, I called it random location. I think there's a chance it's using my other blackboard. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete my blackboard that I made before this tutorial, just to... That's odd. It's only referenced in zombie blackboard, but it shouldn't. Am I in... Which blackboard am I on? Oh yeah, I didn't call it zombie blackboard tutorial. Okay, sorry, I'm just confusing myself a little bit here. So we're in the tutorial, and that does use zombie blackboard. Yep, okay. And the key is Rome location for some reason. Okay, anyway. And inside here you want to be setting the Rome location. So you're going to set the Rome location, then you're going to move to the Rome location. Okay. So inside our sequence we need a condition for this happening. So we're going to create ourselves a decorator on the blackboard. And basically what we can do with this is we can say is not set can see player. So if it can't see the player, so if the can see player value is set to false, then it will go ahead and do this. And if at any point this gets changed so that we can see the player, we want to abort all of this shit and jump over to the other sequence. So over here, basically this is going to be the logic for if we can see the player, and this is the logic for if we can't see the player. So let's just on this sequence here, add another decorator of type blackboard and basically do the opposite. So if it is set and you can see the player, and if the player moves out of that, we want to abort all of this shit and jump over here. So out of the sequence, we're going to need a move to, and that's going to move to the player location, not the roam location. And we're also going to need a new task because we're going to need to set that location. So don't forget to come back in here and rename this horribly named thing to, what is it we're doing this time? Get in the player location. Okay, so get player location tut. So let's jump in here, and we're going to again start with an execute, and we want to get a reference to the player character, and from that player character we want to get actor location, and we're going to cast this out to zombie control. Oh wait, what did I call the controller? Tut controller. That's the one. Okay. So off here we can call run. So now that we can see the player, we want to pick up that speed and start running towards this location. So we need to set this location. So again, we're going to add a new variable and name this player location key, and let's not forget to change this type to blackboard key selector. Compile that, and don't forget to make it public by opening this little eye over here. So we're going to get a reference to that, and we want to set value as blackboard value as vector, and we're going to plug this vector in here and this execute pin in here. And as always, let's not forget to finish our execute by checking that to true. Okay, so back in our behavior tree, before we move to the player, we can now open our tasks and get the player location and then move to that player location. So that's good, that's good, that's good. Let's go ahead and drop our goblin into the world and see what happens here. So it looks like he's roaming around at the minute, and if I walk in front of him, nothing seems to happen. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So what is it that I've missed? Sorry, I'm quite new to behavior trees, so this is still sort of a learning experience for me at the same time. I'm looking to do a lot more tutorials diving into this. So just hold on a moment while I have a browse through my other files. Let's see if I've missed anything here. I don't think so, but let's open the zombie anyway. I mean the controller rather, and change his perception. So his vision is at 60 and his radius, I'm going to bump that back up to 3000 just to see if that's what's causing me any issues. Let's hit play again on that and see where we're at now. Nope, he still doesn't want to chase me. Okay. So aborts both, can see player is not set. Ah, I don't seem to be setting that value anywhere. That's exactly what it is. So I need to where is it I set that value? I do set it actually. That's the first thing we did inside the controller. So when the perception is updated, we set the value of can see player. Let's just make sure that's named correctly. Capital C, capital S, capital P. Yep. Okay. And we're just going to do a print string over here on whether we can see the player or not, just to do a bit of debugging here. Okay, so he never even says anything. That's useful. Okay, let's break this down. So why would this not be getting set? AI perception updated, we're casting. The cast could be failing. Let's test for that by printing a string here. Whoops, I keep forgetting that I have it over here. So the cast isn't failing because it's never even being called, because his perception isn't being updated. So why wouldn't his perception be updated? That's an interesting question. Detection by affiliation. We need to detect neutrals and friendlies. That might be our issue. Let's hit play. Can he see me? He sees me now. Okay, he likes that. We're getting a bit more interesting now. So you notice how, unless he's running straight for me, he's gonna sort of chip off and end up roaming again. That's because he's not focusing on me. He's just running to that location in a straight line. So we need to do one more step in here, and that's to set up another task called, we're going to do basically build these clear focus and focus on player. So we're going to choose the BT task blueprint base as our base again. Once again, come outside and rename this horrible thing to clear focus tut. And inside here, we're going to get an execute again. From our execute, we're going to cast to the zombie controller, or rather the tutorial controller. And from there, we're going to call the clear focus method. And as always, finish up with a finish execute, and that was successful. So back in our tree here, if we're roaming around, we want to clear the focus of the player. So tasks, clear focus tut. So a sequence will basically execute these in order of left to right. So I could move that around there and it would go that one, then that one, then that one. Or I could put it this way and it would go this one, this one, this one. So this is the order we want it. We want to clear the focus, so we're not looking at the player. We want to get a random location. We want to move to that player, to that location rather. And that shit will happen again and again and again. So the final task, another blueprint base. And again, I'm going to go and rename this to set player focus tut. And inside here we need to do an execute. So get the event receive execute. We're going to cast to our tutorial controller. We're going to get the player character, and we're going to set focus, and we want to focus on the player character. And again, we need to finish that with a finish execute and check that as true. So back in our tutorial tree, if we're chasing the player, before we get his location, we want to do another task of focus on player. Is that what I called it? Set player focus tutorial rather. So you're going to set the focus on the player, you're going to get its location, and then you're going to move to that player. So let's go and take a look at how this runs. So our goblin here is running after me, he's chasing me. Let's see if I can hide from him behind this cube here. So he's noticed how he changes from running to walking. So now he can't see me and I'm behind him. He's going to walk around, but I assume he's going to pick a new location any second now. And he's spotted me. So here he comes, he's running after me, and you notice how he turns now and sort of strafes to that location. So he's certainly looking at me, which means he'll be able to trigger that run to again. So I'm going to wrap up this tutorial here. It's been a pretty lengthy one, but that's the basics of how you would set up a chase and roam AI correctly, as opposed to my old hacky blueprint method. So this is using the correct AI, what do you call them now, behavior trees. So I'm going to do a few more tutorials on behavior trees. I'm going to take this concept here and expand this further and see what other kind of things we can get in. Some mechanisms for shooting the player, for attacking, you know, melee attacks, that kind of thing. So we should have some pretty cool AI setup in no time with this. So as always guys, thank you for watching. Do not forget to check out the Discord channel. The link to that will be in the description, so you can jump in here and say hello to everyone. Have a great chat about what you're working on in Unreal Engine and get some help and community support. Yeah, it's a really great place to be. So as always guys, thank you very much for watching, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, leave me a comment below if you have any comments on the videos, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.